Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Regina and I am on a weight loss journey. If you've not been here before, I have created this channel in order to lose 100 pounds to get knee surgery. I love to cook, and so I have been cooking all my food pretty much. Sometimes I order out, but mostly I cook my own foods, and I use MyFitnessPal to track everything. If you are interested in following me on this journey of mine, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the bell icon. I look forward to seeing you here. Thanks. So as I mentioned before, I usually do my weigh-ins on Saturday, but I report my results either on Monday night or Tuesday morning. And this week I lost a total of 0.8 pounds. I went from 319.6 last Saturday to the Saturday being 318 point, what is it? 0.6. So, I wanted to talk a little bit about myself. I have always been overweight my entire life. I don't remember a time. My mom says when I was a little kid, I was not heavy. And she said when I was in high school, I wasn't heavy. But in my mind, I always felt like I was heavy. I had two sisters who, I never really watched them eat, but they always seemed to eat everything that I ate, but I was always heavier. I'm pretty sure though that they ate less than me, but at the time I couldn't understand it. And so it's like I said, it's always been a struggle. I remember when I was in my 20s, I was living in New York City. I was an interior designer, and I was really, it was really important to me to be in good shape and look good and etc. So I would only eat 2 meals a day. I remember eating like a bagel in the morning, and then my lunch was whatever high fat food, Chinese, McDonald's, whatever. And I didn't cook at the time, and I didn't care about nutrition. I really didn't know a lot about nutrition. So when I would go to the gym, I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of friends and whatnot. That's when I met my first husband, and literally I met him. I think the only thing I ever really cooked was maybe macaroni and cheese, boiled water, the cliche things. So I started to teach myself how to cook, and I remember him being so mad at me because I was terrible at cooking. And so it's been a long journey. I'm so much better than I used to be. I really have to commend myself, and I really do enjoy it, but we'll get into that later. But that's when I started to learn how to cook, or that I wanted to learn how to cook. And so that was kind of my journey right there, that I was kind of setting myself up for what was going to come, and that was to be a better chef. So now I'm gonna fast forward 10 years. At this point I was in Chicago. I moved there. We basically had a bad situation where we lived. There was a lot of mafia people in the area that we lived in, and it was just getting kind of scary living in Brooklyn. So my husband at the time and I decided after 2 years living in Brooklyn that we would move to Chicago. So I had friends in the Chicago suburbs. We moved to Geneva, Illinois, and unfortunately, like I said, we didn't work out. I went through some stuff, whatever. I finally got a job at a department store as an interior designer again. And that's when things really turned around for me. I was so happy back then, and I met some really good friends. Again, I was going to the gym. I wasn't focusing on food. I was working out like a crazy person. I was going to the gym, 3 hours a day. And I worked weird hours. I worked from till 10 o'clock at night, I remember. And then I would go to the gym until 3 in the morning. That's kind of why I think I'm a night owl. I'm up at 4 in the morning making this video. I just have always had jobs that were at night, until 10 o'clock at night. I worked another job later, I'll talk to you about that, in a bank, and I worked the late shift too. So I'm just kind of used to being up late, I guess. But anyway, back to that situation. I met some really good friends. I wanted to really excel my interior design career and look good. And so I went to the gym literally 3 hours a day, every single day. I did this program called Seattle Sutton. I think the calories were maximum 1,000 to 1,200. It was starvation. I don't know how I did it. Like, I would never in a million years do that again. But I went from 300, kind of where I'm at right now, to under 200 in 6 months. And I thought, great, look at me, I'm on fire. I lost all this weight. It wasn't sustainable. And within 2 years, I had gained it all back. And at that point, it's a long story. At that point, I had met my second husband, who is from Morocco. We met actually in Italy, and he and I were living together in this area called Geneva or Westmont. We decided we were more city people, so we moved to the city. And again, that's when life was really good. But at the same token, we were in this gourmet club, and there's a lot of drinking and alcohol going on. And so I got to my highest weight there. I got to 380 in Chicago, and that's when I knew I had to stop. So, and at that point, he and I were living in an apartment, and the economy was super bad. We were really bad. It was hard to find a job. My mother, who's an angel, said, why don't you come back here and live in Iowa with me and to get your life back together? So we moved back to Iowa. And my husband worked at a restaurant, my second husband, and I stayed at home. And slowly I started going back to the gym, and I went from 380 to around 330. It took me 2 years to do that. So I have made progress, and I started eating better, and I started eating more vegetables, and I started tracking things. I wasn't creative with my food like I am now. I was just kind of doing like meal prep, where I would have chicken and broccoli and this, and I got burnt out on it. And I decided, and this is why this is so long-winded, and I'm finally getting to the point here, that I wanted to do a diet that I could do for the rest of my life. I've heard people say that over and over again, and I thought, well, I can meal prep for the rest. No, I can't meal prep something that's the same thing every time. As I get into food, I want to do more of it. So this past year is when I decided, hey, this is now that I'm with my now husband, that I want, with his help, he helps me with the gym, but I was going to start cooking better for he and I and my mom. So that's what I've been doing. And so since I started in April, so I've lost around